Hey, how's it going and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be driving up to Atlanta, Georgia in order to use Lomochrome Metropolis. It's not my usual style, in fact, I'm not a huge fan of it at all, to be honest, but I do think it's unique and I know a lot of people really do like it, so I decided I might as well give it a shot and just test it out and see if it surprises me. As usual, I'm going to be using my Leica M6 and my Voigtlander 35mm 1.4. Just really like this setup and I think it'll go great with the, the Lomochrome Metropolis aesthetic. I'm going to keep the intro super short today, but before we get started, I'm going to do that super annoying thing that YouTubers do and say that only 89% of the people who are currently watching this video are actually subscribed. So at the end of the video, if you did enjoy it, it would mean the world to me if you would give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And let's go ahead and get into the video.
Your love is rated X. That means you're extraordinary.
All right, so now I'm coming up to a place called Ponce City Market. It's a pretty cool little area. Got lots of shops and restaurants and stuff inside. So yeah, I'm gonna go inside because I'm dying of thirst, gonna get something to drink and cool off, and then take some more pictures. So I don't really know exactly what happened, but I didn't get the full 36 exposures out of this roll. I don't really know why. I only got 35. I went to take another picture and I went to wind and it just stopped like a quarter of the way. So I was like, oh, okay, let's go ahead and rewind. So I don't know what that was about, but I'm about to head home. Had a pretty productive day of shooting. I don't really know how it went. I guess we'll see. So anyway, I'm heading home,
At the light,
and
turn left onto Boulevard Northeast.
my GPS is interrupting me, but I'm heading home, and I will see you back in the outro where I review the pictures, talk about it, give you my thoughts, you know, whatever. All right, so see you in a second. Alright, so it's been a couple weeks since I shot that roll, and I actually just got the pictures back and got them developed. So I figured that we could just go through and look at a couple of the images, and I can just talk about my feelings on the film and how I like it and what I think it's suited for and if I would recommend it. So first things first, I personally, as I expected, wasn't a huge fan of this film. It's just not really my style, which is totally fine because I know a lot of people really like this look, and I do think it really lends itself to street photography, but personally it's not my style. However, I did have a blast shooting this, and I did enjoy it. I don't know if I'll ever shoot it again, but if you like what you see, then I would recommend it to you, because it is a pretty neat film, even if it's not really my style. Okay, so this first image is of my friend Sam. He was just looking back at me at the rearview mirror, and I just decided to snap a picture. I actually was in Atlanta to visit him and his girlfriend, and I just figured I'd, want to document that while we were waiting in line at like a Chick-fil-A or something. I honestly don't even remember, but I just wanted to document that. Now, this next picture of the van, I actually really enjoy. I actually really like the colors, and I think it is suited to this type of landscape. It's a little muted, kind of green, and has like a yellowish cast, which is, again, not really my style, but I do think it works pretty well in this picture. Now, this next one is at Jackson Street Bridge. I actually really do like this picture. This one turned out really well, and I actually think the colors look really nice. This is a really famous spot. Every photographer ever who lives anywhere in Georgia has been to this spot and taken a picture of the city skyline. It's just an absolutely stunning skyline, and Atlanta is a beautiful city, so this is a very common picture to be taken. And I think it looks great on Lomochrome Metropolis, as well as pretty much any other way you could shoot it. For this next picture, I just wanted to test out the exposure latitude and just see the dynamic range of the film. I think it held up pretty well. The highlights are not like overblown too much or anything, and the shadows still have some detail. If I wanted to go in there and pull out some more detail, I'm fairly confident that I would be able to do that. So this was mostly just a test image, but yeah, it has pretty nice dynamic range, so if you're wondering about that, it's perfectly fine. This next image is of another van in front of a house. What a surprise. I guess I like old cars. It's a little blown out on the van. I could definitely bring the highlights down a little bit, but I just left it how it was just so you could get a real accurate representation of how this film renders the highlights and deals with a little bit of overexposure. This picture of the Ferris wheel I also really enjoy. You get to see the whole Atlanta city skyline in the background, and I think it's just a really nice image. This is just in that major park area in Atlanta. I believe it's called Centennial Park. Let me look that up real quick, because I'm not positive. Yes, it is called Centennial Olympic Park. So this is also just a beautiful little park area that you can see the whole skyline from, and that Ferris wheel is definitely a big tourist attraction in Atlanta. It really is just right in the middle of the city, and you can't help but notice it, so I just decided to document that and take a picture of it, and I think Lomochrome Metropolis did a great job. I also have noticed in a lot of these images that the sky is a very cyan color, which I personally love. That's something about this film that I do really, really enjoy, is the way that it renders the sky. It's a beautiful pastel, like almost cyan-y, very light, airy color, and I really like that. Now this picture, I just saw this guy sitting and resting after his run, and he was just sitting with the Atlanta skyline kind of in the background, so I decided to take a picture of him. Now you will notice from this image, it's not the sharpest film in the world, so cropping is pretty much impossible unless you're okay with it, you know, not being that sharp and being super grainy. That is something I did notice, that even though I shot it at 200, it is definitely not super sharp and definitely still has a pretty heavy grain. This next image, if you look towards the background of the image, you can see the Olympic rings from when the Olympics came to Georgia in 1996, which is actually the year I was born. And I was actually at a couple of the events because they were around my home city and my parents took me to them, so that's a pretty neat little trivia. But yeah, I like this image as well. I think it looks pretty solid. The colors are pretty great. You can definitely see in the shadows that little bit of greenish yellow tint, but I think it works, so yeah, like this one. This next one is just a guy laying in front of the Ferris wheel. He really caught my attention because of the way that he was like laying down. I believe, if I remember correctly, I think he was reading a book or studying for classes or something, and I just thought that that was a really nice backdrop, and he, you know, I would think that that would be a really nice place to study, and if I lived in Atlanta and went to school up there, I also would have done the same thing, so I just thought that was a pretty good idea, so I snapped a picture. Now, this one is one of my favorite ones from the roll. This guy's just sitting over the little fountain area that is right there in Centennial Park, and he is listening to music, and he just looks like he's having a great time, and I just really like this picture because, you know, he is sitting right on the side of that water, and then you've got all these people on the left side that are kind of, you know, doing their own thing. A lot of people are looking at him, you know, you've got the women sitting on the bench that are kind of talking to each other, and I just think this is a pretty interesting image and just kind of shows the way that downtown Atlanta life works. And this is just a pretty stereotypical day in Centennial Park in Atlanta, and I thought this captured it pretty well, so I like this image. Again, like with the other ones, I will say that you can definitely see the green cast over this, but I still think it works regardless. This next one, I really just like this guy's hair, so I figured that I would take a picture of it. I'm kind of upset because I rushed myself. I would have liked to have centered him inside one of the Olympic rings. Didn't really do that. I kind of rushed, kind of panicked, wanted to make sure I could get it. He was walking really fast, so I just wanted to make sure I could get something. Not a great image. Regardless, the color of the film looks pretty nice on his hair, so yeah. Now this picture I was actually really looking forward to when I took it. This little kid ran away from his family, and he's wearing a red shirt, and it is the same color as the red arrows that are pointing down. And I literally stood there for 30 minutes because I was like, I'm going to wait for somebody to walk through here with a red shirt, and as soon as they do, I'm going to snap it once they're right under the red arrows. So as soon as I saw this little kid, I was so excited. So I snapped this image. I'm pretty happy with it. It's actually one of my favorite ones from the roll. However, I really do wish that I shot this on a different film stock. I would have been much happier with this if I shot it on Lomo 800 or Portra. But you know what? I still like the image. It's still really neat, and I will just have to revisit this and get it on my normal film stocks at a later date. I also really like this image as well. This woman in this like salmon colored shirt, I thought it really popped with the green of the grass, and even with this film, I was right, it did. I love that you can see the crane and the Ferris wheel in the background, and yeah, I just liked that she was wearing a hat, so I snapped this picture. This one of the train tracks I actually really like. While I was taking this picture, you actually didn't get to see it in the video because I didn't have the POV set up, but while I was taking this picture, I had my wrist strap wrapped around my arm, and right as I was about to take it, somebody came up behind me and like yelled, "Oh, that's gonna be a good one," like really loud right behind me, and it scared the hell out of me, and I almost like dropped my camera down this like, 60-foot pit. So yeah, that was almost really bad. That's why I always have my wrist strap wrapped around my arm. So yeah. I also really like this image of the bird and the Uber scooters in front of the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I just like this perspective. I got all the way down to take this picture and I kind of liked it. A lot of the cars were looking at me like, what the heck is this guy doing? But I'm pretty happy with this image. This one of the horse carriage in front of the Ferris wheel, if you've ever been to Atlanta, you know that this is a super popular thing. Couples will get on these horse carriage rides and just ride around the downtown area, so these are all over the place. So I felt the need to grab a picture of that. You can also see in this picture, you've got the big Ferris wheel in the back, but if you look towards the bottom right corner, you have a little model actually of the Ferris wheel that it's in front of. So there's just always been this little like, I guess kind of art piece that models what the actual Ferris wheel looks like, which I thought was kind of neat to include in the picture. This is the Claremont Lounge. It's actually a hotel as well as a strip club. It is known for having older women that strip there, and it is a very famous place in Atlanta. And they've recently opened up a rooftop bar, which I've been to, and it's actually phenomenal. You can see the entire city. And it's just a really nice little area, so snapped a picture of that. And then finally, this last image is literally just of the parking garage. This was actually the last picture that I grabbed. I actually only got 35 exposures off this roll for some reason, so I'm not 100% sure what that's about. Might have been user error, I may have loaded it poorly or something. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with those images, even though it's, not really my color palette and definitely not my style, but I'm still pretty happy with a few of them. Probably won't try this film stock again, but I would recommend it to anyone who thought that they liked that color palette. I would highly recommend it. If you like the color, you can't really go wrong, I suppose. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, if you could leave me a thumbs up and subscribe, that would really help me out. You can also feel free to follow me on Instagram. I post there pretty regularly, and you can also follow me on Twitter. I've really been engaged in the film community over there on Twitter, and I've loved talking to people. So if you want to follow me on there as well, that would be fantastic. Thank you again so much for watching, and leave me a comment in the comment section below if you like the look of Lomochrome Metropolis, and I would also love to see some of your images that you used, and maybe you can persuade me into shooting it again. Just leave me some feedback in the comments, and just let me know what you thought about this film and what you thought about this video, and what else you would like to see. So again, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoy it, and I hope you have a fantastic day.